You know what $2 can buy you? Not much. A cup of coffee if you're lucky? A candy bar? Maybe a lottery ticket if you're feeling desperate. But you know what $2 can't buy you? 23 years of your life back. 23 years of being invisible in your own family. 23 years of watching someone else get everything while you got the leftovers. 23 years of telling yourself it was all in your head, that you were being dramatic. Things would eventually balance out. They never did. And on December 18th, 2023, exactly 9:47 p.m., I stood in my parents' driveway and watched my sister get handed the keys to a brand new BMW with a giant red bow on top. 30 minutes later, my father walked up to me, smiled, placed two $1 bills in my hand. Everyone was watching, everyone was smiling, and I realized in that moment that I had spent my entire life waiting for people who never planned on seeing me at all. By 2 a.m. that night, I had blocked all of them, and I never looked back. This is that story. Let me tell you something about favoritism that nobody talks about. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't walk into the room wearing a sign that says, "Hey, we love your sibling more than you." It's quieter than that, sneakier. It hides in the small moments, the little decisions, the things that seem too minor to complain about, until one day you look back and realize those small moments were everything. My sister's name is Emma. Growing up, Emma was the golden child. Not in an obvious TV drama kind of way, it was subtler than that. She was 3 years younger than me, which meant she was always the baby. But even when we got older, even when she was 20 and I was 23, she was still treated like she needed to be protected, celebrated, prioritized, and I was just ... there. I remember being 7 years old, sitting at the kitchen table doing my homework. My mom walked past me without a word and went straight to Emma, who was coloring at the other end of the table. My mom sat down next to her, smiled, and said, "Wow, sweetie, this is beautiful. You're so creative." Emma had drawn a tree. It was a purple tree with orange leaves. I had just finished a book report and worked on it for 3 days. Nobody asked to see it. I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself I was being sensitive. But when you're 7 years old and you're watching your parent light up for someone else while barely noticing you exist, it plants something in you. A seed, a quiet question that grows louder every year. Am I not enough? Asterisk birthdays were always the worst. When Emma turned 10, my parents threw her a party at a local trampoline park. They invited 20 kids from her school. There was a cake shaped like a unicorn. My mom spent weeks planning it, sending out custom invitations, coordinating with other parents. When I turned 13, we went to dinner at Applebee's. Just the 4 of us, my mom said. "You're a teenager now. You're too old for big parties." Emma got a Nintendo DS that year. I got a gift card to Target for $30. I didn't say anything. I never said anything. Because when you grow up being told not with words, but with actions that you're not the priority, you learn to shrink. You learn to expect less. You learn to be grateful for whatever scraps you get. It's making noise about it just makes you seem ungrateful. And the worst part? Everyone around you acts like you're lucky just to be included. High school was when the gap really started to show. Emma was a cheerleader. She was popular, outgoing, the kind of person who seemed to glide through life without effort. My parents went to every single one of her games, every competition, every pep rally. I was in the robotics club. We made it to the state finals. My junior year, I was so proud. I told my parents about it weeks in advance. I gave them the date, the time, the location, the day of the competition. They didn't show up. I called my mom during a break. She answered on the 4th ring. "Sweetie, I'm so sorry," she said, her voice distracted. Emma had a last-minute cheer thing, and we didn't want her to go alone. "We'll catch the next one, okay?" There wasn't a next one. We didn't make it to state the following year. Nobody ever asked how we did. College was supposed to be my escape. I worked 2 jobs to pay for it. I didn't ask my parents for money because I knew what the answer would be. Emma was still in high school, and they were already talking about how expensive her college would be. It's how they needed to save up. How important it was that she got into a good school. I graduated with honors. They didn't come to my graduation, Emma. Had a cheer banquet the same weekend. My mom sent me a text that said, "Congrats. So proud of you," with a generic party emoji. I didn't respond. By that point, I had learned to expect it. I'd learned that no matter what I did, no matter how hard I worked, I would always come second. I had learned that love in my family wasn't something you earned, it was something you were born into. And I wasn't born into the right spot. The thing about reaching your breaking point is that you don't see it coming. You think you're fine. You think you've accepted your role. You think you've built enough walls around your heart that nothing can get through anymore. And then something happens that cracks everything wide open. It started in early December. Emma had just turned 20. She was in her second year of college my parents paid for entirely, by the way. No loans, no part-time jobs, just tuition checks and spending money and a new laptop whenever she needed one. I was 23, working as a graphic designer at a small marketing firm. I lived in a one-bedroom apartment 40 minutes away from my parents' house. I paid my own rent. I paid my own bills. I had built a life for myself, piece by piece, with no help from anyone, and I was proud of it. But I was also tired of pretending I didn't notice the difference. Tired of watching Emma get everything handed to her while I fought for every inch of ground I stood on. Tired of showing up to family dinners and being treated like a guest instead of a daughter. In early December, my mom called me. "We're doing something special for Emma this year," she said, her voice bright and excited. "For her birthday. We want you to come." Should have known right then. I should have felt it in my gut, that sinking sensation that tells you something bad is about to happen. But I didn't. I just said, "Okay. When?" "December 18th. Come over around 8. It'll be a little celebration. Nothing too big. Nothing too big." I almost laughed. The next 2 weeks were strange. My parents kept calling me, not to ask how I was doing, not to check in on my life, but to remind me about Emma's celebration. "Don't forget, December 18th. Make sure you're there by 8. It's going to be really special." Every time they said it, I felt this tightness in my chest, this gnawing anxiety that I couldn't explain. Something felt off. I tried to ignore it. I tried to tell myself I was, overthinking that I was being paranoid, that maybe for once this would be a normal family gathering where I didn't feel like an outsider. But deep down, I knew better. 3 days before the 18th, I called my mom. "What are you guys getting, Emma?" I asked, trying to sound casual. There was a pause. "Oh, you'll see," my mom said, and I could hear the smile in her voice. "It's a surprise. For her or for me," she laughed. "You'll love it, trust me." I didn't trust her, but I also didn't know what else to do, so I went shopping. I bought Emma a nice journal and a gift card to her favorite coffee shop. Nothing extravagant, but thoughtful. The kind of gift that says, "I know you, I care about you, I'm your sister." I wrapped it carefully. I wrote a card, and I told myself that maybe this year would be different. Asterisk, December 18th arrived, cold and clear. I remember the drive to my parents' house. The roads were empty, the sky dark, the air biting. I had the heat on full blast in my car, but I still felt cold. That deep, bone-level cold that has nothing to do with the weather. I pulled into the driveway at exactly 8 p.m. The house was lit up like a holiday display, every window glowing. The front porch decorated with lights and sitting in the driveway. Under the streetlight was a car I didn't recognize. A BMW brand new, by the look of it. Sleek, black, shining like it had just rolled off the lot, and on top of it, tied in a perfect bow, was a massive red ribbon. I sat in my car for a long moment, staring at it. My brain couldn't process what I was seeing. A car, they bought her a car. I thought about my own car, a 10-year-old Honda Civic with a dent in the passenger door and a check engine light that had been on for 6 months. I thought about how I'd saved up for 2 years to buy it used, how I'd had to borrow money from a friend to cover the down payment, and now I was looking at a brand new BMW with a bow on it. I should have driven away right then, but I didn't. I got out of my car, grabbed Emma's gift from the passenger seat, and walked inside the moment I stepped through the door. I knew this wasn't a small celebration. This was a show. My parents were in the living room. Emma, My dad was holding a bottle of champagne. My mom was on her phone, probably taking pictures. Emma was standing in the middle of the room, smiling so wide it looked like her face might crack. "There she is," my mom said when she saw me, her voice too loud, too bright. "We were waiting." "For you?" I forced a smile. "Sorry I'm late." "You're not late," my dad said, pouring champagne into glasses. "You're right on time." I looked at Emma. She was practically vibrating with excitement. "Okay," my mom said, clapping her hands together. "Are we ready?" "Ready for what?" I asked. My mom grinned. "You'll see. Come on, everyone outside." We went. Outside, all four of us, and there it was, the BMW, sitting in the driveway like some kind of monument, the red bow gleaming under the porch light. My mom walked up to it and put her hand on the hood, like she was presenting a prize on a game show. "Emma," she said, her voice shaking with emotion, "your dad and I have been planning this for months. You've worked so hard in school. You've been so responsible. We wanted to do something special for you." She pulled a set of keys out of her pocket and held them up.
"This is yours, sweetheart. Happy birthday." Emma screamed. Literally screamed. She ran to the car, grabbed the keys, and started jumping up and down. My mom was crying. My dad was smiling. They all hugged each other, and I just stood there, frozen, watching. They took pictures. So many pictures. Emma sitting in the driver's seat. Emma holding the keys. Emma with my parents, all of them smiling like they were in a commercial. And I was just there, standing off to the side, holding a gift bag with a journal and a $20 coffee card inside. After about 10 minutes of celebration, my mom finally turned to me. "Isn't this amazing?" she said, still beaming. I nodded. My throat felt tight. "We wanted to do something for you too," my dad said. I looked at him. He reached into his pocket and pulled out two $1 bills. He held them out to me. "Here," he said, smiling. "For gas. Since you drove all the way out here." I stared at the money in his hand. $2. $2. My mom laughed. "It's not much, but it's the thought that counts, right?" I took the money. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. Because if I opened my mouth, I was going to scream. We went back inside. Emma kept talking about the car. About how she was going to drive it to campus. About how all her friends were going to be so jealous. My parents listened to every word, nodding, smiling, asking questions. Nobody asked me anything. Nobody looked at me. I sat on the couch, holding two $1 bills in my hand, and I felt something inside me break. Not snap. Not shatter. Just break. Quietly. Completely. I left at 11 p.m. I didn't say goodbye. I just got up, walked out the door, got in my car, and drove. I didn't know where I was going. I just drove. Through empty streets, past closed shops, under flickering streetlights. I ended up in a parking lot outside a 24-hour grocery store. And I sat there. In the dark. Staring at the $2 in my hand. And I realized something. This wasn't about the car. It was never about the car. It was about what the car represented. The years of being overlooked. The birthdays that didn't matter. The achievements that went unnoticed. The constant, crushing weight of being the child who didn't deserve celebration. The $2 weren't a joke. They were a message. You don't matter. You never did. I got home at midnight. My apartment was dark and quiet. I didn't turn on the lights. I just sat on the floor in the entryway, my back against the door, and I stared at the wall. I felt numb. Not angry. Not sad. Just empty. I thought about calling someone. A friend. Anyone. But what would I even say? My parents gave my sister a car and gave me $2. It sounded ridiculous. It sounded petty. But it wasn't. It was the culmination of 23 years of being treated like I didn't belong. 23 years of being told, in 1,000 tiny ways, that I was less important. Less loved. Less worth the effort. And I was done. At 1 a.m., I stood up. I walked to my bedroom and pulled out a suitcase. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I couldn't keep doing this. I started packing. Clothes. Toiletries. The few things that mattered to me. I wasn't running away. I wasn't disappearing. I was leaving. There's a difference. At 1:30, my phone buzzed. It was a text from my mom. "Thanks for coming tonight. Emma is so happy. Drive safe." I stared at the message. No mention of me. No acknowledgement of how I might have felt. Just a generic thank you, like I was a guest at a party instead of her daughter. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my contacts. I scrolled to my mom's name. And I blocked her. Then I blocked my dad. Then I blocked Emma. One by one. Methodically. Calmly. It was 1:58 a.m. At exactly 2 a.m., I sent one final text to the family group chat. It was short. Simple. "I'm done. Don't contact me." Then I left the chat. And I turned off my phone. The silence that followed was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. I sat on my bed, staring at the dark screen of my phone, and I waited to feel something. Regret. Guilt. Fear. But I didn't feel any of that. I felt relief. For the first time in my life, I felt like I could breathe. Part 5, The Aftermath. The first week was the hardest. Not because I missed them, but because I kept expecting them to reach out. I kept expecting my phone to light up with missed calls, voicemails, apologies. But there was nothing. Silence. It confirmed everything I already knew. They didn't care. They probably didn't even notice I was gone. The second week, I started to rebuild. I threw myself into work. I took on extra projects. I started going to therapy. I reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with. I started to remember who I was before I spent my entire life trying to earn love from people who were never going to give it. The third week, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. "Hello? It's me. My mom." Her voice was tight. Strained. "I don't know why you blocked us," she said. "But this is childish. You need to apologize to your sister. She's upset." I didn't say anything. "Are you listening to me?" My mom continued. "You walked out without saying goodbye. You embarrassed us. Emma doesn't understand why you're being like this." I took a breath. "Do you know what $2 can buy?" I asked. There was a pause. "What?" $2. "Do you know what $2 can buy?" "I don't." "Nothing," I said. $2 can't buy anything. But that's what you gave me. $2. While Emma got a car. That's not fair." "You're right," I said. "It's not fair. It never was. And I'm done pretending it doesn't matter." And I blocked that number too. Months passed. I built a life for myself. A real one. I got a promotion at work. I moved into a better apartment. I started painting again, something I'd given up years ago because I was too busy trying to be good enough for people who didn't care. I was happy. Genuinely, quietly happy. Then, 6 months after I left, I got a message on LinkedIn. From Emma. "Can we talk?" I stared at it for a long time. Then I deleted it. A week later, I got an email from my dad. The subject line said, "Please read this." I almost didn't open it. But curiosity got the better of me. The email was long. Rambling. He said they missed me. He said they didn't understand why I was so upset. He said they'd always treated me and Emma the same. Then, at the end, he said something that made my stomach turn. "Emma's going through a hard time right now. She could really use her sister. Even now. Even after everything." It was still about Emma. I deleted the email. A few weeks after that, I ran into an old family friend at a coffee shop. She saw me and smiled, but there was something sad in her eyes. "I heard about what happened," she said quietly. "With your family?" I nodded. "For what it's worth," she continued, "I always saw it. The way they treated you." I wanted to say something, but I didn't know how. "It's okay," I said. "Is it?" she asked. "Are you okay?" I thought about it. "Yeah," I said. "I really am. And I meant it." Here's what nobody tells you about walking away from your family. It's not dramatic. There's no big showdown. No final speech. No moment where everyone realizes they were wrong and begs for your forgiveness. It's quiet. It's a decision you make in the middle of the night when you realize you've spent your whole life waiting for people who were never coming. It's packing a bag. Blocking a number. Choosing yourself for the first time. And it's lonely. God, it's lonely. Because even when you know you made the right choice, there's a part of you that mourns what you never had. Not the family you left, but the family you deserved. I don't regret leaving. I don't regret blocking them. I don't regret choosing peace over presence. Because here's the thing, love isn't supposed to be conditional. It's not supposed to be something you earn through perfection or silence or shrinking yourself down so small that you don't take up space. Love is supposed to be a foundation, not a prize. And my family never gave me that. So I built it for myself. It's been over a year now since that night. Since the BMW. Since the $2. Since I walked out of that house and never went back. I still think about it sometimes. Just with clarity. I see it for what it was, a pattern that started long before that night and would have continued long after if I hadn't stopped it. But I know the truth. And so do you. If you're reading this and you see yourself in my story, if you've spent your life being the second choice, the afterthought, the one who's expected to be grateful for scraps, I want you to know something. You are not asking for too much. You are not being dramatic. And you deserve more than $2. You deserve to be celebrated. To be seen. To be loved without conditions or comparisons. And if the people in your life can't give you that, it's okay to walk away. It's okay to choose yourself. It's okay to block the number at 2 a.m. and never look back. Because your worth is not determined by how much someone else is willing to give you. Your worth is inherent. And you don't need anyone's permission to believe that. I don't know where Emma is now. I don't know if my parents ever realized what they lost. I don't know if they miss me. And honestly, I don't need to know. Because I'm not waiting anymore. I'm not hoping for an apology that will never come. I'm not holding my breath for people who stopped breathing life into me a long time ago. I'm just living. Building a life where I'm not the consolation prize. Where I'm not the backup plan. Where I'm not worth $2. So here's my final thought. That BMW with the red bow? It wasn't a gift. It was a symbol. A monument to everything I was never going to be in that family. And those $2? They were the last thing my parents ever gave me. But they were also the thing that set me free. Because sometimes, the smallest gesture reveals the biggest truth. And the truth was this: I was never going to be enough for them. But I was always going to be enough for me. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, this one's for you. You are seen. You are valued. And you are worth so much more than they made you believe.